Africa, a land of kings, warriors, and monumental civilizations. For centuries, its empires flourished, pioneering innovations, commanding vast trade networks, and resisting invaders with an iron will. But as history has shown time and time again, even the mightiest powers can fall. From the legendary Axumite Empire to the battle-hardened Zulu Kingdom, the echoes of Africa's past still shape the present, and brings us to the title, Lost Empires of Africa, the Untold Rise and Tragic Fall. The Axumite Empire, a cradle of Christianity, nestled in what is now Ethiopia and Eritrea, the Axumite Empire was once a powerhouse of trade, culture, and religion. By the 4th century CE, Axum became one of the first states in the world to officially adopt Christianity, forever changing the spiritual landscape of East Africa. Gold coins bore Christian crosses, churches stood as architectural marvels, and the empire's influence stretched across the Red Sea into the Arabian Peninsula. But Axum's glory was not eternal. The 7th century brought the expansion of Islam, shifting trade routes away from its once thriving ports. Environmental degradation and internal struggles hastened its decline. By the 8th century, Axum had fractured, its former dominance reduced to legend. The Zulu Kingdom. Warriors of the South. In the early 19th century, a brilliant tactician named Shaka Zulu emerged, transforming his people into a military juggernaut. With his ruthless leadership, the Zulu Kingdom expanded rapidly, revolutionizing African warfare. The short stabbing spear, the bullhorn formation, these were the tools of conquest that made the Zulu army nearly unstoppable. But even the fiercest warriors met their match. As European colonization spread, the Zulus found themselves in the crosshairs of the British Empire. In 1879, the Anglo-Zulu War erupted. Though the Zulus won a shocking victory at the Battle of Isandlwana, superior British firepower eventually overran them. Yet, despite their military defeat, Zulu pride and cultural identity remain unshaken, a testament to their enduring legacy. The Ashanti Empire. Guardians of gold and glory deep in the heart of West Africa, the Ashanti Empire rose to dominance in the 18th century, controlling the lucrative gold trade and fiercely protecting its sovereignty. The empire's sophisticated governance, led by the Asantehene king, ensured its strength and stability. But as British imperial ambitions grew, conflict was inevitable. Throughout the 19th century, the Ashanti waged war after war against British forces. Though they resisted valiantly, the empire eventually succumbed in the early 20th century. Yet, Ashanti traditions and political influence remain a cornerstone of modern Ghana, proving that their story did not end with colonization. The Oyo Empire. Masters of strategy among the Yoruba people of present-day Nigeria, the Oyo Empire stood as a beacon of power and organization. From the 14th to the 19th century, its sophisticated military and political systems enabled it to dominate neighboring regions. The empire's economy thrived on trade, with goods flowing through its vast network of merchants and artisans. However, internal strife, rival invasions, and the pressures of European expansion led to Oyo's unraveling in the 19th century. The once mighty empire crumbled, its territories absorbed by competing forces. Yet, Yoruba culture and traditions remain some of the most vibrant in Africa today. The Kingdom of Kush, the Nubian superpower, overshadowed by its northern neighbor, Egypt, the Kingdom of Kush stood as a powerful and influential empire for over 1,000 years. Emerging along the Nile River in present-day Sudan, Kush thrived as a major economic hub, trading ivory, incense, iron, and vast amounts of gold. Kush was both a rival and an ally to Egypt, even conquering and ruling it as the 25th dynasty. The Kushites embraced Egyptian customs, including worshipping their gods, mummifying their dead, and constructing pyramids, over 200 of which still stand today in the ancient Kushite capital of Meroe, outnumbering those in Egypt. This civilization was an architectural and cultural marvel, yet its power eventually waned due to invasions and shifting trade routes, leaving behind a legacy etched in stone. The Swahili city-states, jewels of the Indian Ocean along Africa's eastern coast, a series of powerful city-states, Kilwa, Mombasa, Zanzibar, thrived as trading hubs in the vast Indian Ocean network. Influenced by Bantu, Arab, Persian and Indian cultures, the Swahili people developed a rich, cosmopolitan civilization. Their ports bustled with merchants dealing in gold, ivory, spices and slaves. But the 16th century saw the arrival of a new threat, the Portuguese. With their cannons and warships, they disrupted the flourishing trade networks, seizing key cities and marking the beginning of the Swahili decline. Though their political power faded, the Swahili culture and language endure, bridging Africa with the wider world. The mysterious land of Punt, the land of the gods. Few civilizations in history are as shrouded in mystery as the land of Punt. Ancient Egyptian texts dating back to 2500 BC describe it as a land of riches, filled with gold, ebony, myrrh, and exotic animals. It was considered so prosperous and sacred that Egyptians referred to it as the land of the gods. Egyptian pharaohs, including the legendary Queen Hatshepsut, launched massive trade expeditions to Punt, bringing back treasures and exotic beasts. Yet, despite its historical significance, the exact location of Punt remains unknown. Some scholars suggest it lay in modern-day Ethiopia or Eritrea, while others argue it was in Arabia. Even today, the land of Punt remains one of Africa's greatest unsolved mysteries. Carthage, the empire that rivaled Rome. Carthage was not just a city, it was an empire that challenged the might of Rome. Founded by the Phoenicians in the 9th century BC in present-day Tunisia, Carthage grew into a maritime superpower, controlling vast trade networks across North Africa, Spain, and the Mediterranean. At its peak, Carthage boasted a population of nearly 500,000 and a navy feared across the ancient world. However, its thirst for expansion brought it into conflict with Rome in the infamous Punic Wars. The rivalry climaxed in 146 BC, when Rome annihilated Carthage, burning the city to the ground and sowing its land with salt. Today, only ruins remain of this once mighty civilization, a testament to its former grandeur. The Kingdom of Axum, Africa's forgotten superpower. During the rise and fall of the Roman Empire, another great civilization flourished in East Africa, the Kingdom of Axum. Located in modern-day Ethiopia and Eritrea, Axum was a trade juggernaut that connected Europe, the Middle East, and India. Axum was one of the earliest African civilizations to develop a written script, Ge'ez, and built towering obelisks over 100 feet tall. In the 4th century, it became one of the first empires in the world to officially adopt Christianity, forging ties with the Byzantine Empire. Though it eventually declined in the 7th and 8th centuries, Axum's influence lives on in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, making it one of Africa's most enduring legacies. The Mali Empire, the land of gold. The Mali Empire was one of the richest and most powerful civilizations in Africa. Founded in the 13th century by Sundiata Keita, often called the Lion King, it controlled vast trade networks in gold, salt, and other valuable commodities. Its cities, Djenné and Timbuktu, became centers of learning, boasting Islamic schools and libraries, including Sankore University, which housed over 700,000 manuscripts. The empire's most famous ruler, Mansa Musa, stunned the world during his pilgrimage to Mecca in the 14th century. He spent so much gold in Egypt that he caused inflation for years. Though the empire declined in the 16th century, its wealth and influence remain legendary, solidifying Mali's place in history as one of Africa's greatest empires. The Songhai Empire. the largest empire in West Africa. After the fall of Mali, the Songhai Empire rose to become the largest empire in West African history, covering territory larger than Western Europe. Emerging in the 15th century, it thrived on trade and a highly organized bureaucratic system. Under the rule of King Muhammad the Seer Zaskia, Songhai expanded its reach, forged alliances with Egypt's Muslim caliphate, and established hundreds of Islamic schools in Timbuktu. However, internal conflicts and civil wars left it vulnerable, and in the late 1500s, Moroccan invaders delivered the final blow, leading to its decline. Great Zimbabwe, the African stone fortress. One of Africa's greatest architectural marvels, Great Zimbabwe, stands as a testament to the brilliance of its builders. Located in modern-day Zimbabwe, this stone citadel was once the capital of an empire that controlled trade routes linking gold mines to the Indian Ocean coast. Built between the 13th and 15th centuries, Great Zimbabwe was a city of towering stone walls, elaborate towers, and stacked boulders, constructed without mortar. Its population reached an estimated 20,000 at its peak. However, for reasons still debated by historians, the city was mysteriously abandoned in the 15th century, leaving behind one of Africa's greatest archaeological wonders. The Songhai Empire, the largest empire in West Africa. After the fall of Mali, the Songhai Empire rose to become the largest empire in West African history, covering territory larger than Western Europe. Emerging in the 15th century, it thrived on trade and a highly organized bureaucratic system. Under the rule of King Muhammad the Seer Zaskia, Songhai expanded its reach, forged alliances with Egypt's Muslim caliphate, and established hundreds of Islamic schools in Timbuktu. However, internal conflicts and civil wars left it vulnerable, and in the late 1500s, Moroccan invaders delivered the final blow, leading to its decline. Africa's hidden legacy. The history of Africa is rich, complex, and filled with civilizations that rivaled the greatest in the world. Yet many of these stories remain untold, buried beneath layers of time and historical bias. From the golden wealth of Mali to the maritime dominance of Carthage, Africa's empires were powerhouses of trade, innovation, and culture. As we uncover these forgotten kingdoms, we not only rewrite history, but also reclaim the legacy of a continent that shaped the ancient world. These lost empires of Africa are a reminder that history is far deeper, richer, and more intricate than we have been taught. It's time to tell their stories to the world. The colonial shadow and the fight for independence. The fall of Africa. Great empires paved the way for European colonization. The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw the brutal division of the continent among European powers. African civilizations, once thriving and independent, were subjected to foreign rule, forced labor, and exploitation. Yet resistance never ceased. By the mid-20th century, a new battle emerged, the struggle for independence. Visionary leaders like Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana, Jomo Kenyatta, Kenya, Patrice Lumumba, Congo, and Nelson Mandela, South Africa, spearheaded liberation movements that reclaimed Africa's sovereignty. But the scars of colonialism remained, leaving many nations grappling with economic challenges, political instability, and the echoes of foreign interference. Africa's timeless strength. The rise and fall of these African empires are not just stories of power lost. They are testaments to resilience, innovation, and cultural endurance. Though the kingdoms may have crumbled, their legacies remain, shaping modern Africa in ways both seen and unseen. From the pyramids of Egypt to the bustling markets of Timbuktu, from the battle cries of the Zulu to the wisdom of the Ashanti kings, Africa's past is alive in its present. And as the continent moves forward, it carries with it the spirit of its ancestors. Warriors, scholars, builders and visionaries, what do you think about these great African empires? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to help spread these incredible stories to the world.